Welcome to Discourse, a podcast about music as a medium for conversation. Today's guest is Ash Graña, the lead vocalist and front femme of Narsick of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. First of all, I love a female punk vocalist. And Rock the Fuck Out, an independent music blog, said your album was akin to eavesdropping on a breakthrough therapy session. Tell us about your process.
Oh yeah, that's an accurate understanding. I love it. Yeah, for sure. The whole process of being in Narsick and with these three amazing people has helped me work through a lot of my issues, like with past things, and it's been kind of like a cathartic therapy session every week. Using music as a way to kind of channel that and kind of understand oneself is a really powerful tool. And at the same time, you have a lot of fun. A lot of our processes stem from past experiences, of course, as a lot of musicians relate. And then we all kind of bring different things to the table. I bring my vocals and lyrics, and I have a lot of history in musical theater, singing in that kind of style, really diaphragmatic. But I also like doing vocal tricks like screaming and some weird growls and warbles and stuff, So we do a little bit of everything in our music, and whatever fits or sounds good and is fun, we lean into.
Nice, I love that.
Yeah.
Our theme today is dread. I think it's something a lot of us can relate to these days. So let's dig into it. Music starts in 3, 2, 1. This is I'm Not Crying, You're Crying by Pink Shift. It was released on Love Me Forever on Hopeless Records in 2022. Ash, tell us about this song.
Well, I really like this song. I think Pink Shift is definitely kind of turning a corner on the pop punk scene. They have a very strong female presence up front, and she is loud and she is angry and just expressing herself, and I love them for that. This song to me, I kind of thought of dread in a way of like, how are the lyrics reflecting the writer's feelings of dread instead of like, does the song invoke a sense of dread? So for this one, you can definitely tell the way she's saying, like, I'm sorry for being this way. Sorry, it's really loud in my ears. She definitely, sorry. So she says, like, repeats, like, I'm fine, I'm totally fine, like, I'm so sorry. It's like she's dreading being exposed and being vulnerable and showing who she is, and she's expressing that. So there's a fear of rejection clearly rooted in the foundation of the song, and I think that's a feeling a lot of us can relate to clearly, is rejection. There is also a sense of like her not feeling like she can come forward and be her whole like raw self and expose her emotions and her vulnerability without being judged or misinterpreted, especially in the second verse. There's definitely a sense of like these things that probably have been said in the past to make her feel like she's not safe to expose those feelings. That's definitely a sense of dread I can relate to as well from the past, that inability to feel safe enough to come to somebody that you're close to, and be vulnerable, but instead you got to put on a happy face and just be like, I'm trying, I'm doing it. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like that is very, very relatable. And I do love like that pop punk coming back. It makes me feel happy.
Yeah. And
Me
it's such
too.
a good point about like even in today's mental health uh environment where even though we've still demystified a lot of it, there's still this idea that, whatever you're going through has to happen quickly and you have to get over it
Mm-hmm.
quickly and you have to move on quickly. And if you're not moving on quickly, then like what's wrong with you?
Yeah, 1,000%. But like, we feel these emotions and these feelings because we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right. All right, this next song is Helena by My Chemical Romance. It was released on Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge on Reprise Records in 2004. Raja, tell us about this song.
Yeah, I was first introduced to this song playing SingStar with my little brother. So we definitely had a fun time singing it. Um, and what I think is just like really relatable is just like the dread of having to deal with missing the person you've lost. And Helena is actually named after Gerard and Mikey's grandmother, Elena Rush, um, and about how to deal with losing somebody who was a regular part of your life. And so, as far as dread, it's just the lyric. What's the worst that I can say? I guess it is better if I stay here without you. And just thinking about like depression and managing that. And it is better if you're here despite what it is you have to face the next day. You can do that. And just trying to figure out how to move forward, I think also can bring on that feeling just with like getting over something. It's like, oh, I'm still feeling this, and then processing grief. It doesn't happen all at once. So you can be having a good day, and then boom, it hits you again, and you're thinking about the memories, the good times. Um, and Sesame Street does a really good job of talking kids through grief with Elmo checking in with how you're doing, losing somebody and what just having those conversations could look like. So I think the song is just a great way of like thinking about how to move with still carrying the grief. Um, and just I love the vocals. And a funny thing I noticed that I also saw pointed out was that in the scene in the music video when they're carrying the hearse, one of the pallbearers is too short to reach it, so he's not carrying it at all. Like, and you can kind of see he's just like, "You guys got it." So it's just like those funny little things were kept in there. It wasn't planned to have like the raining scene, but I'm so glad it rained that day. I think it fits the mood as well of just like so long, not good night, having to deal with the grief and not wanting to say goodbye, but that's just part of the process of loving someone.
It's well put. And yeah, I fully agree. Jardway has such a talent for depicting those feelings of longing.
Hmm. All right. Next song coming up is No Surprises by Radiohead. It was released on OK Computer on XL Recordings Limited in 1997. Carla.
Take it away. Well, I really love, I think Radiohead has that ability to sort of like take you to another planet with the music. And I feel like at different times in my life, like as a teenager, it sounded one way, now it sounds another way. But this song had made its way back into my life last year. I was dating somebody that got the lyrics to this, the part where it says, bruises that won't heal. This part on their back after a very traumatic breakup that they had. And I remember like I was infuriated by it because we were dating at the time, and I'm like, why are you getting a tattoo about your ex while we're dating? Um, and then like listening to the song in a new way because obviously like I wanted to know the perspective he was listening to it from. But I think what's so great about Radiohead is that they really dive into those feelings that are sort of outcast feelings, right? That feeling of like, ugh, I really don't want to go through this, but I have no choice almost. And I think No Surprises is such a good song about like when you're sort of going through it and then you're just like, I don't want anything else to happen. Like well, I want Murphy's law to not happen, and not everything that could happen, please don't happen. Because it's sort of like when you're in that vibe, it's like everything bad that could happen to you happens to you, right? Like, oh, you're having a bad day and like your tire breaks, your your bank account is like overdrafted because you made a double payment, and then like your grandma dies, like just everything sort of happens together. And I feel like the song is sort of, it resonates with me because of that, like, yeah, no, nothing else, please, yeah, it's like healing needs its moment.
Yeah. I feel like the sound of Radiohead too is just like one of those, even though it deals with a lot of like, darker themes and stuff, like it's calming in a lot of ways for me. Which
Yeah,
is really good when I'm feeling all the dread.
yeah. And
Yeah,
this is a
oh, sorry.
beautiful album in general. Like OK Computer is such a good album. But I feel like this song sometimes goes like, like you don't really notice it because there's so many others that are very good and more popular, right?
I don't listen to Radiohead enough.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. We're all
It's almost
singing.
like a little lullaby too.
Yeah. Make you feel better when there are those surprises.
All right, the next song coming up is DEAD by Madeline. It was released as a single on Lucky Bastards in 2022. So I feel like this is just my anxiety song. Like it starts out, describing, struggling to get out of bed, feeling all this, anxiety and dread. Which, some days I feel very strongly. But then a simple phrase comes to my head and it makes me feel better. And this is surprisingly helpful for me. Someday I'm going to be dead. That kind of like, in an odd way, puts everything into perspective. Like, in the long run, none of this matters. It's going to be over. So do what you can now. And I just love it.
I've never heard this song, but I'm gonna add it to my playlist.
Right? So
Yeah.
I found it on TikTok. It's one of the younger artists. Like,
It's really fun.
I love it.
And I mean, nothing that'll stop making you from taking things too seriously than embracing your own mortality, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
like-
often we forget that we're just mere mortals, right? Like
Yeah.
any minute they could shut the lights and you were stressing about, your credit score.
Right?
Yeah.
That perspective,
It's so true.
yeah.
And the overall feel of it is just like very light and dainty, and
Yeah.
I feel like there's a kind of a movement within the newer, younger artists that is like very feminine, but also very like the content is very strong. Maybe it's, a sign of where we are as a civilization, but I love it.
I like this. It's a vibe for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is gonna be in my head all day, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it
This one
really.
is phenomenal. How you doing? Phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I feel super anxious, this really like I just play it on repeat in my head, and it surprisingly helps. Okay, so that is end of round one. Let's take a moment for a message from our sponsor. We don't have any sponsors yet, so here's free promotion for Songkick. Songkick is my go-to app for finding concerts. You can connect your music library and it imports everything and automatically notifies you of concerts in your area. It has actually completely changed how I find concerts to go to, and I cannot recommend this enough to people who love music. So Songkick, go check it out. Let's go into round 2. All right, this is Hard to Touch You, by Girlwood. It was released on I Sold My Soul to the Devil When I Was 12 on Sonoblast Records in 2019. Ash, go ahead.
So, first of all, this whole album is incredible. I adore it so much. This is one of those bands that I definitely like related to very quickly, and I don't know, learned a lot about myself through relatability with their messages. And a lot of people could too. This song is about the dread of basically like physical rejection from someone you care about. Like this line, after 6 times, I think it's something, that's something we all worry about, being rejected. Again, a very vulnerable point in a human experience is being, romantically, physically involved with somebody. You're completely bare. But anyway, there's that fear of rejection for people, and that can fester when things aren't communicated. If there's a problem, it's something that everybody should talk about. So, the part, it hurts to touch you when you don't want to touch me too. Again, like that fear of rejection. And it seems like in this song, like this shouldn't be a recurring thing. So there's like an underlying fear, of loneliness or of like releasing anger. I'm sure, people stay in situations they're unhappy with because they don't feel confident to get out, but yeah, this part right here, the build is incredible, and like sometimes I'll just be like angry and just turn this song on and just scream along with this crescendo is amazing. And she's just screaming, I hate my body, so I hate my body, over and over and over again. And this dread of not communicating, depicted in whatever previous things have led to that inability, it just becomes this growing hatred for themselves. And yeah. So yeah, it's a heavy one. But yeah, it's...
Oh my gosh, those vocals.
Wow, yeah.
I love it. Chills.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I felt that song.
Wow, yeah.
Ooh, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, it hits.
It hit hard. Yeah, I was like, damn.
All right, this next song is Cranes in the Sky by Solange. It was released on A Seat at the Table on Columbia Records in 2016. Raja.
Love this song.
Yes. This song actually made me think about gentrification the first time I heard it. Especially growing up in a city that was once seen as just a violent place to be. And I've never been ashamed to tell people I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I'm from the Bull City wherever I go. And people are like, oh my gosh, like, really, you? And I'm like, yeah, there's crime and things everywhere. But also just like finding peace in my hometown, with everything that's going on as far as like gun violence, police brutality. You think about all those things and just like sometimes dreading going outside because you don't know what you're going to face. But then you see these tall buildings being erected, all this new energy being brought, and it's just like, who is this for? Is everybody benefiting from this? And so this song really, is about that because Solange was writing the song after breaking up with the father of her child, and she was writing it, I think in Miami, and there was construction, and she was trying to find peace to get in that space of creating, but also all this construction is going on, and it's like I don't want to see what's going on around in the world when I'm trying to deal with what's going on in me, and so I think I could just relate to that, going through a lot of stuff in my hometown, but seeing all this growth and this new energy come, and it's just like that war of trying to like find peace where your home is, but also seeing the world still moving around you, and people are happy and excited to bring their business to town, but there are kids in your neighborhood going to school and they can't eat because they don't have lunch money. So it's just like, how can we figure this out, while also dealing with personal things? So that's why I was just thinking this song really fit with that, and so I was just thinking about all those things all the time.
I think your note on this growth, who is this growth for? That when you said that's a very powerful way to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I would get emotional this episode when I saw the theme. So if you see me pause, if you try not to cry,
Oh,
like,
Raja.
I started tearing up while you were talking. Like, you're not gonna be alone, okay?
I'm just like,
Yeah.
Is this our therapy session episode?
I
Yes.
think so.
Yeah.
Narsick is all about therapy, okay?
Yeah.
So pretty.
Yeah.
There's again that notion of like dread is present, obviously, but the tune is very like fun and flowy.
Mm.
Step aside, Beyonce. If you're listening to me, Beyonce, please don't sacrifice me.
All right, next up we have Build God, Then We'll Talk by Panic at the Disco. It was released on A Fever You Can't Sweat Out on Fueled by Ramen LLC 2005.
Yeah,
Carla.
so this song is about, like, I think Panic at the Disco is very good about telling you a story. And this song, like, the chorus is actually a play on my favorite things from The Sound of Music. But this song is about a virgin who sleeps with a lawyer for money, and then his wife finds out, and she's also stays with him for money. But I think it's like, it's a very good story about how sometimes we have to do stuff that we don't want to do. And especially women are put in situations where, in order to survive, have to do these kinds of things that are very horrible. But the fact that like men also do this to them is such a big resonating theme in the song. Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, to like this proposition for the virgin, yes, strictly business, as he said to the missus. So it's like, the exploitation of women and like the use of women as sexual objects, and that, if you have that power move on you, then you can utilize it to sort of manipulate the situation in that way. And yeah, I didn't get that from this song when I was a teenager and I was really into this album. But as an adult, it hits different, you know?
Mm.
And this chorus is just, it's beautiful again, which is the Sound of Music part.
And I love that line too, like a caricature of intimacy. Like, it's not intimacy, it's just a like cartoonish representation of it.
Yeah. Each of the sheets can be one. And a few more of your least favorite things. So instead of your favorite things, it's your least favorite things. Yeah. Yeah. And then I also really like about Panic at the Disco, they have this sort of like, especially this album, this like circus music almost. It's almost like that gypsy music, you know, that they introduce into their music. And then this album, all of the artwork for me was just so nice and just really good. I think like their videos. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's something very theatrical about them as a whole, and I really love that. It's like I was a theater kid too. I just love the big over the top stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And they're very graphic, I feel.
Yeah. All right, this next song is Nervous System by Candy Carpenter. It was released on Demonology Part 1 on A-Frame Records in 2023. So this is another TikTok find. TikTok is like my new number one place to find music. It's ridiculous.
Don't tell a song kick.
Right? So Candy Carpenter has a lot of songs around like mental health and like her own experience. I think she has anxiety, and I think she might be autistic too. I can't remember at the moment. But this song just feels perfect to me. Like, it's this, I have a nervous system. I'm nervous all the time. There are a lot of lines in it about like turning into your dad, which, you know, might be a concern I have.
Yeah.
So it's just, I feel like it encompasses that whole, you know, well, just living with anxiety on a low level, I think. There are just a lot of great lines in it too. I think her humor is very dry in a way that I respond to. So yeah. Oh, this. I wonder if Sigmund Freud turned into his dad too.
I love. Honestly, I also have this dread, to be honest. Like, I'm terrified of turning into my parents.
Oh.
Yeah.
And like when you become a parent, especially, I actually had this conversation yesterday with my therapist. Like, one of my biggest fears about being a parent is being my parent.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I've
My
accepted
sister.
it. I'm like my mom.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I've said things to people and I was like, that didn't come from me, but it worked in that moment. So I've accepted it.
I'm definitely a lot like both of my parents, but growing up, I always thought it was more my dad. I've realized that his neuroses are just more obvious, and I'm very much my mom as well. But my sister and I, anytime that we do something that is just a classic thing my dad would do, we call each other Mini Mike. His name is Mike. It's like, okay, Mini Mike. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I'm not like a lot like my parents, but there are certain times that I'm like, ooh, that was like totally my mom. You know, like I'll be like, ooh, I just did like yeah, but like more like mannerisms and things like, you know, like my mom does this a lot to like her nails and I do that too like all the time and I'm like, oh. Yeah.
All right, that is round 2. Let's do a quick production note. Discourse is produced in partnership with Hey Awesome Girl, a full-service marketing and creative studio on a mission to help female entrepreneurs build and grow companies that empower their lives. Become a part of their awesome community by visiting heyawesomegirl.com/grow. All right, let's start round 3. This is Touch Me Again by Petrol Girls, released on Talk of Violence on Bomber Music in 2016. Ash, I love this song. I'm so glad you picked it. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So, this song called Touch Me Again, it is so good. Petrol Girls, I would say like the majority of their music is like this, just like intense, fast, very against the grain, as far as like expectations of women go, based on society. And that line, it's my body and my choice. I think a lot of us, most of us, can relate to this dread of losing autonomy, in many cases, from, obvious horrible things to, some random stranger putting his hand on the small of your back. Like, those are the kind of things that I dread daily. And it creates anxiety, for sure. And, you just want to scream at people, like, don't fucking touch me. Last night, there was an incident where I witnessed a guy touching somebody, and I was like, bro, like, no. And then a guy touched me, and I was like, how is this still a thing? It just blows my mind. So, yeah, that dread of just going somewhere and being just invaded, that's a daily dread that most people can relate to. And the end of the song slaps again. The outro, oh my gosh. Just rage.
Yeah, I remember I first learned of Petrol Girls because you shared something on social media. Was I immediately looking this up? Thank you.
I'm glad. I love giving a song rec.
Mm-hmm.
This playlist is popping.
It is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about personal space, like when we're kids, we're always thinking about stay out of my bubble. Why does that change when we get older? Where do we forget that?
I don't know.
Everybody, stay out my bubble, stay out my face. Like,
yeah,
where did
it
that go?
becomes be polite.
Yeah, just be respectful. Don't touch people. Why is that hard?
What I think is interesting is the thought of like, if somebody does touch you purposely, like, why do you have to be polite about somebody invading your space?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just go scream that song.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is No Problem by Chance the Rapper, featuring 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne. It was released on Coloring Book in 2016. It was actually a self-released mixtape and was the first streaming-only album to win a Grammy, which is pretty cool. Raja, tell us about this.
Yeah, I love this song. I mean, it's vibey, of course. But as far as dread, it makes me think about when you're preparing to tell somebody, you got me effed up, like, and it's a happy warning song, I think, but it's very serious. It's like, I don't think you want these problems with me if you do something that I already expressed clear boundaries around. And it's just like, let's not try it. I have these credentials, I have community, I have a network. Let's just not try it, because you don't need any additional problems. And I feel the song. As a person who's like really reserved and quiet, this is how I move in the world. I try to express clear boundaries up front, so you don't have to get here.
I feel like this fits you very well, Raja. You're like very sunny disposition, but We'll be for it if you need to. It's a cool fit.
I love Chance the Rapper.
And it's just a good song. Straightforward. Repeat it till you can get it. Get the message.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it shouts out North Carolina. I try to slide that in there every time. Something about North Carolina.
I love that.
That's my personal challenge, to put North Carolina in here somewhere.
Nice. I like that. I was unaware. I like that a lot. I feel like there are a lot of layers to the music in here.
I love the message of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be saying this. I'm phenomenal, and I'm gonna be dead. You don't want no problem with me, because I'm
Keep
gonna be dead.
looking.
I love that through line. And this song also reminds me of Sarah Bareilles' song where she was like, "I'm not gonna write you a love song," because this also talks about like having to deal with like record labels and execs and that corporate side of the music industry. So it's one of my favorite like sub genres is people talking shit back to like that side of the music industry of like, we're not gonna do things on your terms because it's not working, and we gotta switch things up.
So is Chance the Rapper from North Carolina?
I'm sorry,
Or someone else? Is Chance the Rapper from North Carolina? Why did they
Chicago,
drop North?
I think it's
Okay.
Chicago.
Why did they mention North Carolina?
He was saying Petey Pablo, waving his shirt around like a helicopter.
Okay, I see.
It's like, was like 6 degrees of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And Petey Pablo, the song that he was referencing, that's he's North Carolina.
Gotcha.
I think that was the song that was used to represent North Carolina in the DNC roll call.
Okay. This next song is I'm Not Okay, I Promise by My Chemical Romance. I have lost my notes on this. Go ahead, Carla.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little loud. I couldn't hear. I was lip reading again. Okay, well, I feel like My Chemical Romance is always a great like angsty situation. I really loved this song when I was like maybe like 14, 15, because I feel like I was very misunderstood as a teenager, and I was like always not necessarily fitting into the norms of my family or like, I had just moved to the States 5 years before. Like I was still really finding like that place where I fit and where I could be like unique. And so I thought I really had to conform to one way of being, to be accepted, be it at school or my house or whatever. And I always really liked this song because, well, first of all, because I was really into Mikey Way, and he shows up a lot in this video. And second, because I feel like, I don't know, I really like that song, like you sing these words and don't know what they mean and just, I don't know, I feel like the song really spoke to me as a kid. Um,
Same.
And as an adult, there are so many times where I've felt like I'm not okay, you know, and then maybe it's the antidote to like when people ask you, oh, how you doing? And you say, I'm fine, or I'm good, you know, like maybe we could start saying how we actually feel, you know? Yeah. I made this my email too for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, like I'm not okay and like my birthday.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, this build.
And then this is like yeah. It's so perfect.
Oh God, that sends me back to being an angsty teen for sure.
Oh.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to like the first song we listened to, right? So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, the whole notion of like not feeling like you can be vulnerable and upfront about how you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Dreadjection.
Greatly. Yeah.
I really like.
I forgot how great the song was. Like now that we're listening to.
All right, this last song is Everything's Fine, Nuke Song by Ro Capara. It was released on I Hope Hell Isn't Real on Epitaph in 2023. So this is 3 for 3. This is another TikTok song. So it really, the whole song just describes kind of our whole society kind of crumbling and people just going on with their lives. Like it feels very relevant. Some of the lines, it's the rich people going off to space to live their lives and leaving the rest of us here to live in the aftermath of atomic bombs. And it's a very nice vibe. You know, very singer-songwriter-y. Yeah. It talks about taking your pills while the world falls apart.
Yeah. Angry mommy issues. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Not the cat. Oh, the kid. And then
Yeah.
he said cat.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I was
watched
like, not
the
the
nukes
cat.
explode and
Okay,
kill
not
the
the
neighbors'
cat.
kids. Yeah.
Not the cat.
We don't care about the kids.
No, yeah.
I mean, kids, debatable, but cats, not the cats.
Out of the question.
Not the pets.
I'm on that team too.
Yeah.
Even thoughts are expressed here, not.
No offense to kids, but
That was a beautiful song. I've
Yeah.
never heard that voice before, but dang.
Yeah, I really like his music.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that's it. That is our playlist. Who should be the winner this week? Ash, I think I'm going to give it to you. I feel like you had some good analysis. You put a lot of thought into your choices. Yes. You win for your therapy.
Yes.
I have to say, this episode was very therapeutic. It was like group therapy.
I feel closer to all three of you right now.
Oh,
We should meet for wine and do this again.
Yes.
yeah. I'll fly into North Carolina
Yes,
Excellent.
please do.
just for this.
Well, thank you for joining us, Ash. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at ashcandyboot. You could also follow Narsick at Narsick on Instagram, and you can find Narsick on Spotify and Apple as well. And also check out Night Night, my boys. They're great as well.
Excellent.
Great.
We'll be back with another episode every week, so be sure to hit subscribe. You can follow us everywhere at Discourse Podcast. That's Discourse with 2 C's. And of course, we have the playlist and all the songs from the episode on Spotify and Tidal. You've been a wonderful audience. Good night.
Good night.